Greetings to everyone joining us today. Visualize this moment, somewhere across the vast expanse of our world.
Two colossal mountains pierce the horizon like ancient sentinels watching over forgotten lands. Nestled between their towering peaks lies an extraordinary fortification, a magnificent structure forged from pure iron and reinforced with blazing copper that has been melted and sealed with precision. This edifice radiates an aura of strength that transcends human comprehension. No mortal hands alone could have assembled such a monument. It was constructed by a sovereign of immense capability, a monarch whom the Almighty endowed with unparalleled dominion across the terrestrial realm. Before we venture deeper into this narrative, we sincerely encourage you to strengthen our community. Hit that subscribe button, extend your support through a like, and share with us in the comments section which corner of our world you are connecting from. Now, with hearts prepared, let us embark on this extraordinary journey. The most haunting dimension of this account emerges from what exists on the opposite side of that fortification. There dwells a civilization incomprehensibly vast, profoundly formidable, and genuinely terrifying in scale. This nation is depicted in a sacred tradition so spine-chilling that it pierces the deepest recesses of consciousness. During the final reckoning, out of every 1,000 souls destined for punishment, 999 will emerge from this single nation alone. Contemplate the magnitude of such a population. Who comprise them exactly? Which geographical expanse conceals this barrier? And what calamity shall ensue when this seemingly eternal wall finally fractures? Throughout this presentation, we shall methodically unveil this profound and enigmatic reality, the chronicle of Yajooj and Majooj. Remain with us throughout every segment, because abandoning this journey prematurely could mean missing the fundamental essence of this transformative understanding. Esteemed audience members, woven throughout Islamic tradition, exist narratives that produce an unmistakable tremor within the soul. There exist cosmic truths so overwhelming that Allah Himself has preserved them in His eternal book as cautionary wisdom for mankind. These testimonies instruct us that our earthly existence carries no permanence and that eventually all we comprehend will transition into the realm of the unseen. Perhaps you have encountered the terminology Yajooj and Majooj previously. Yet have you genuinely devoted contemplation to understand what exactly defines them? Do they constitute human society or something transcending our conventional categories? What form do they assume? Through what origins did they emerge? And what constitutes the authentic narrative regarding the colossal fortification constructed by the mighty sovereign Dhul-Qarnayn? In which location does it persist within our world? To adequately respond to these inquiries, we must undertake a mental expedition spanning millennia, journeying backward to an antiquated epoch fundamentally transformed from our contemporary understanding. In that distant era flourished an exceptional authority who traversed the complete breadth of existence, moving in all directions from Orient to Occident and from north to south. This magnificent ruler bore the designation Dhul-Qarnayn. However, preceding our examination of his extraordinary deeds, we must fundamentally establish the authentic identity of Yajooj and Majooj. These entities represent far more than legendary narratives or mythological constructs. Their substantiality is thoroughly substantiated within authenticated Islamic scholarship and verified historical accounts. This constitutes an established historical occurrence, a mysterious phenomenon carrying profound implications for human destiny. Within the eternal Quran, the Almighty explicitly references these beings in the chapter known as Al-Kahf. Beyond this singular mention, the Messenger of Allah, Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, elucidated their characteristics through verified and trustworthy testimonies transmitted across generations. Let us address a matter of paramount significance. Gog and Magog are decidedly not phantasmagorical constructs. They are neither supernatural entities nor inhabitants of alternate dimensions. They constitute humanity itself, authentically and completely human, mirroring our own fundamental nature. They descend from the genealogy of Prophet Adam, upon whom be peace. The overwhelming consensus among Islamic scholars categorizes them as a distinct branch of human civilization. Certain historical accounts even trace their ancestral lineage to Japheth, the offspring of Prophet Nuh. Upon him be tranquility. Following the catastrophic deluge that obliterated the previous world, human populations recommenced their expansion, and among these redistributed communities emerged the distinction known as Yajooj and Majooj. Yet notwithstanding their biological humanity, their fundamental essence diverges dramatically from conventional human society. Their behavioral patterns, their methodologies of conflict, and their capacity for devastation represent an entirely separate category. They embodied ferocity, systematic demolition, and mercilessness in their interactions. Whatever territories experienced their passage witnessed complete obliteration. They transcended ordinary warfare. They executed the systematic elimination of entire populations. Agricultural lands were rendered barren, dwelling places crumbled to rubble. Countless innocent existences were extinguished, and nothing survived their traverse unmarked. Envision a civilization whose mere emergence triggered universal apprehension across entire regions. Their brutality achieved such overwhelming proportions that the common population possessed absolutely no mechanism for protection or evasion from their devastation. Now you may naturally inquire precisely what magnitude characterized their population. Steel yourself, because the response transcends ordinary numerical comprehension. In an authenticated transmission preserved in both Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, communicated that on the momentous day of judgment, the Almighty will instruct Prophet Adam, upon whom be peace, to dispatch a contingent toward eternal consequence. Adam will respectfully question, "My Lord and Master, how numerous shall they be?" The Almighty will respond, 999 shall originate from each assemblage of 1,000. Upon receiving this revelation, the companions were seized with overwhelming anxiety. Their innermost beings trembled with the weight of this knowledge, and they collectively posed the question, "O Messenger designated by Allah, then which individuals among our community will attain deliverance?" A profound silence descended, heavy with collective apprehension. Subsequently, the Prophet, upon whom be peace, offered reassurance, proclaiming, "Rejoice in this knowledge, for from that assemblage of 1,999 shall emerge exclusively from Yajooj and Majooj, while merely singular representative shall originate from humanity overall." Examine this statement with profound reflection. If such an overwhelming proportion comprises their species, then what incomprehensible magnitude must characterize their total existence? From the commencement of Prophet Adam's era, extending through the ultimate day of judgment, the aggregate of all humanity, though incalculable, becomes insignificant when measured against the population of Yajooj and Majooj. And this tremendously multiplied civilization, possessed of such devastating capacity, remains perpetually detained behind a boundary. A boundary that preserves one of the universe's most inscrutable mysteries. And behind the establishment of that boundary stands an individual of remarkable distinction, Dhul-Qarnayn. We shall now transition to his remarkable narrative. The Creator communicates his biography in the chapter designated Al-Kahf, specifically in the 83rd verse. They will question you regarding Dhul-Qarnayn. Communicate to them, I shall transmit to you the chronicle of his deeds. This revelation descended when the polytheists of Makkah, prompted by certain Jewish scholars, presented the messenger with challenging inquiries, among which included questions concerning Dhul-Qarnayn. In response to this challenge, the Almighty unveiled these particular verses for clarification. The Creator explicitly states that He established Dhul-Qarnayn with remarkable firmness upon the earth and provided him with comprehensive capacity to accomplish all his determined objectives. Contemplate the profundity embedded within this declaration. It signifies that Allah bestowed upon him extraordinary capabilities, encompassing supernatural knowledge, immeasurable treasures, supreme governmental authority, commanding military formations, and the supernatural faculty to navigate across all terrestrial expanses. He possessed the inherent ability to accomplish whatever endeavor he resolved to undertake. Islamic scholars maintain varying perspectives regarding whether he attained the station of prophethood or served as an exceptionally righteous and divinely favored sovereign. Numerous authorities maintain that he represented a just ruler and devoted servant, granted extraordinary divine blessings. Others entertain the possibility that he achieved prophetic status. However, singular certainty prevails. He represented a specially selected servant whom Allah elevated to extraordinary station. His nomenclature, Dhul-Qarnayn, carries etymological significance suggesting possessor of dual elevations or sovereign of opposing boundaries. Certain interpretations reference his monumental journeys extending eastward and westward across the globe. Other perspectives propose mystical symbolism, yet ultimately, comprehensive knowledge of such matters resides exclusively with the divine. What distinguished him magnificently concerned the utilization of his extraordinary authority, wielded in absolute conformity to divine guidance. The Creator delineates 3 momentous expeditions undertaken by Dhul-Qarnayn. During his initial westward campaign, he traversed toward regions where the solar orb appeared to descend into murky waters. Upon arrival, he encountered an assembled population. The Almighty granted him discretionary authority, whether to impose retribution upon them or demonstrate compassionate treatment. Dhul-Qarnayn responded through the lens of absolute fairness. He declared that those individuals perpetrating oppression and transgression would encounter appropriate consequences, subsequently appealing to the Almighty for comprehensive judgment. Conversely, those embracing belief and executing righteous conduct would inherit divine recompense and untroubled existence. This exemplifies authentic justice, uncompromising against wrongdoing, yet overflowing with compassion toward righteousness. During his subsequent eastward expedition, he encountered populations inhabiting regions devoid of protective structures against solar exposure. They possessed inadequate habitations and zero safeguards against climatic extremity. Certain historical accounts mention that these communities would retire beneath subterranean chambers during daylight hours for thermal protection. These descriptions remind us of the extraordinary variety and concealment characterizing human civilizations throughout our planetary history. Subsequently arrived his ultimate and most consequential expedition, a journey of unparalleled significance. He penetrated a geographical region encompassed by 2 magnificently elevated mountain formations. Within this constrained passage, he discovered a community whose communicative abilities remained severely compromised. Their articulation proved unintelligible, their cognitive comprehension drastically diminished, though their visceral dread proved abundantly transparent. They experienced profound terror, because dominating the mountainous territory beyond these natural barriers dwelt Yajooj and Majooj, an annihilating phenomenon that repeatedly descended upon them, systematically obliterating everything they had constructed. In absolute desperation, this afflicted population approached Dhul-Qarnayn. Through fragmentary utterances and imploring physical gestures, they articulated their desperate petition. The divine message conveys their supplication. O Dhul-Qarnayn, certainly Gog and Magog perpetrate systematic ruin throughout the land. Shall we remunerate your efforts, provided you establish a separating structure positioned between our territory and theirs? Observe particularly the terminology facade. This encompasses comprehensive disorder, systematic destruction, oppressive practices, tumultuous upheaval, and widespread suffering. Yet Dhul-Qarnayn declined their monetary compensation. He proclaimed, "Regarding that which my sovereign has bestowed upon me supersedes any material recompense. Assist me through your physical exertion, and I shall construct this protective barrier." What demonstrates extraordinary nobility, absolutely devoid of mercenary motivation. No aspiration for material enrichment, exclusively sincere dedication to divine purpose. Thereupon commenced the fabrication of one of civilization's most phenomenal architectural accomplishments. He commanded that metallic sheets of considerable dimension be extracted and positioned longitudinally between the mountain foundations. Progressively, accumulating layer upon metallic layer, the intervening cavity underwent systematic closure until architectural equilibrium with the mountainous peaks achieved realization. Subsequently, he commanded that conflagration be ignited, transmuting the metallic substance through intense thermal application until it achieved incandescent radiance. Following this preparatory phase, liquefied metallic copper underwent controlled application, permeating and fusing the entire fortification with impenetrable solidarity. The resultant structure manifested as a barricade of unparalleled robustness, continuous, absolutely impenetrable, and transcending any construction achievable through mere mortal engineering. The Almighty communicates that Yajooj and Majooj discovered themselves incapable of ascending its elevation or excavating apertures through its composition. Upon accomplishing this civilization-altering achievement, Dhul-Qarnayn abstained from self-glorification. Rather, he articulated himself with profound humility. "This constitutes beneficence emanating from my sustainer. However, when my sustainer's promised hour arrives, he shall level this construction completely. Verily, my sustainer's utterances shall materialize." These expressions contain layered profundity. Despite whatever permanence a construction may appear to possess, nothing maintains eternal constancy. Now one naturally questions, in what geographical location does this fortification presently exist? Neither the Quran nor authenticated prophetic traditions delineate its precise coordinates. Various Islamic authorities have proposed alternative geographic regions, potentially situated in extensively isolated mountainous territories. Nevertheless, its present whereabouts remain concealed according to divine prerogative, because it constitutes an element of a predetermined cosmic arrangement, an arrangement destined to unfold during the concluding chapters of human chronology. Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, once awakened in pronounced distress, communicating that a diminutive fracture had manifested within Yajooj and Majooj's confinement. He admonished that approaching devastation becomes imminent as immorality achieves predominance. With each passing solar cycle, Yajooj and Majooj engage in persistent excavation against the wall's composition. They approach breakthrough, yet each nocturnal period witnesses its automatic restoration through divine command. Until an eventual occasion, they will pronounce, "We shall accomplish breakthrough tomorrow by divine permission." That specific occasion, the structure shall persist in compromised weakness. Then it shall catastrophically crumble, and they shall cascade outward resembling torrential overflow. Throughout that apocalyptic period, Prophet Isa, upon whom be peace, shall receive divine instruction to conduct believers toward sanctuary upon Mount Tur. Absolutely nobody shall possess capacity to resist Yajooj and Majooj. They shall disseminate systematic ruin across the terrestrial sphere, obliterating everything positioned in their trajectory. However, when believers confront the threshold of desperation, they shall channel their supplications toward the Almighty with authentic spiritual yearning. And the Almighty shall grant response. He shall dispatch an infinitesimal being, so diminutive as to appear almost imperceptible, to strike them. And instantaneously, that seemingly invincible civilization shall perish. Their termination shall manifest not through martial conquest, rather via the Almighty's absolute authority. Subsequently, the terrestrial realm shall undergo purification, and a golden epoch characterized by boundless prosperity shall commence under Prophet Isa's benevolent dominion. Cherished believers in our audience, this chronicle transcends mere futuristic speculation. It constitutes an essential caution, a profound reminder that our terrestrial sojourn possesses strictly limited duration. We habitually postpone spiritual reformation. We delay fulfilling our prayer obligations. We presume abundance of opportunity remains. Yet termination of existence emerges at unpredictable moments, and for every individual, that moment inaugurates their personal reckoning. Thus, reorient yourselves toward the Almighty immediately. Throughout this presentation, we have examined the precise definition of Yajooj and Majooj, the fortification restraining them, and the momentous occurrences destined to transpire during their liberation. Yet fundamentally internalize this. Allah's arrangement achieves flawlessness. All phenomena transpire at their divinely designated moment. Esteemed viewers, owing to your persistent support and sincere supplications, our community experiences continual expansion. Preserve your engagement, maintain your subscription, and participate actively throughout this ongoing journey. Should any inaccuracies emerge within our presentation, we humbly request your forbearance and welcome your constructive observations. Furthermore, kindly inform us regarding your geographical location. May the Almighty grant us protection, fortify our spiritual conviction, and bestow upon us advantage in both our present existence and our eternal hereafter. Until our subsequent encounter, peace, mercy, and blessings from Allah be upon you all.